Shit. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Well, since you guys can hear me now, hopefully, um, well, I'm going to do my whole welcome again. Well, welcome in everyone. RT Bear here, almost 40-year comic book veteran. I don't know how many years. I don't really keep track. I just know what we're closing in on 40. Yeah, Hack Shack Studios here where I work, and yeah, I'm just gonna hang out with you guys, see what you're up to. Hope you guys are all doing well, and I'm gonna give you a little bit of give you some behind the scenes looks at some of the black and white development stuff. I find it exciting. I mean, the finished pages are cool, but I like to see like the work in progress stuff. So I got a couple black and white work in progress pages to show you. So that should be fun. And yes, I is a boomer. You know what happened? I'm just an idiot more than a boomer. My mute button on my mic was pushed. And so I pushed it again, and I must have like double clicked it. So I ended up turning it on and then back off again. So that's why you couldn't hear me. So hopefully you can hear me now. God bless you, young man. Oh, and past master, I did make a joke that Pedro was first in. It wasn't you this time. It wasn't you. Let me see. Oh, this is interactive too, you guys. So the only way this show moves forward is to ask questions and to hang out in the chat, because I really don't have much prepared. I just kind of like these hanging out streams. Past Master says, I, for one, would like to see Arts stream a work session chat. What is a work session chat? Is that me working, just hanging out? I could do that. Yeah, I could do that for sure. I just have to get my I got like a little tripod here, and I set it up right, like I have the tripod, I think on this side. Yeah, because I'm right-handed, so I think I have it over here, and then I aim it down, and then I can doodle and draw for you guys. So yeah, we can do that, man. That would be no problem. It could be fun too, and then I could hang out and work. Danky Frankie, what's up? I like to see how the sausage is made. Indeedy do. Indeedy do. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, well, we'll show you some stuff. Show you some stuff. Let's see. Watching you jam on the page. Indeed. Let's see. Oh, we got Cam. Cam, what's up, man? Hello. Hey, you know what? Before we go on, I want to show this off, man. We just we got some traction on the black and white campaign last night, and we hit another milestone, which is nothing short of amazing. I mean, this whole campaign has been just inspiring, just completely inspiring for me, to know that there are people that want to see this, and that have backed this book and supported this book to the point that I can sustain my existence here in my new home of Texas. So yes, we were at 11 something. I think we were only about 2 backers away from 12. And so, yeah, last night we hit 112,006. So that's 1,330 backers. Yes, Black and White, Volume 2, Man versus Machine. This is the epic conclusion to the origin saga. Let's watch the video. I don't play it much.
From RT Bear comes the exciting conclusion to the Black and White origin saga. 60 pages of pulse-pounding action. In a world where law and order
Pedro
are often black and white.
Man versus machine.
Yes, thank you, Red Gaze, for that terrific video. Red Gaze is a badass mofo, if you know what I'm saying. If you know what I'm saying. Well, you know, we could well, let me finish up here and then we'll get into some other stuff. So yeah, this is the epic conclusion. They're back and badder than ever. So this is the main cover, drawn by me, and we got Stefani Renee on the cover, but he is doing the interiors as well. I got a few of those pages and they look fantastic. Some of them even look better than this cover, dare I say. Now they're all really good. He is terrific. I've known Stefani for a long time, man. And then when I saw him hanging out at Comicsgate, I was like, is that the same guy? Because we worked with each other on a couple Chrono books actually in the day. Probably 10-15 years ago. So he's been doing this for a while, and he's getting better every time he puts color down. So we got that to look forward to. 68 pages, and we got some variants, you guys. We got the black and white Kenneth Roquefort volume 2 cover. We got the incredible Joe Bennett. This was fresh from him being canceled. He got canceled at Marvel from his Hulk work. The writer got uppity, and I guess Marvel, agreed with this guy, which I don't understand. And they fired him and they crucified him. And so I reached out to him just kind of as a friend, just like, hey man, I feel your pain. And he said, hey, if there's anything you want, anything you need, let me know, even a cover, a black and white cover. And so he wanted to do interiors. He wanted to do a whole story. He was gung-ho. And I said, let's just do a cover for now. I don't really have any plans to move forward on anything else, although I'm probably, well, I think if I called him, he'd still do it. But I was going to say maybe I burned that bridge, but I don't think so. I think Joe's fast enough, and he really enjoys doing stuff like this and working with me. So I think we could still do something in the future. However, right now he's working on his own projects, his own indie books. So Joe Bennett is amazing talent. We worked with each other on Deathstroke, the Terminator at DC, and Hawkman. With, believe it or not, Rob Liefeld was writing that with Comicsgate's own Mark Polton. So small world, very small world. Also, just an aside, Rob Liefeld said he would do me a cover at one point. I wonder if I should call him on that. Hey, Rob, you still want to do a black and white cover? I think that'd be a blast because black and white pretty much its origins were with Liefeld and Extreme Studios, so that would be cool. And then we have the High Octane Adventure, which is Pedro Eng with his fantastic animation style, with the very talented Von Klaus of Monster MD fan, and I think Black Terror. He's got that Black Terror book. So this book is done. All the artwork is done. The script is done. Pamela and I are going over the writing now and doing the word balloons and just kind of making sure that all the dialogue is where we want it to be. Pamela's really good at keeping all of the characters in character, making sure their voices all work and such. So she's working on that now. So Pamela's doing that. And then as soon as we sign off on that, then this is going to the lettering department. And we're going to get some letters on this, and then it's off to the printer. So things are getting done. Also, this next book right here, this book is done. We have this in-house. We have 2,500 of these printed up and in storage right now. So this is volume 1. You can still get it with this new cover. So this is the second printing. The first version of this book completely sold out. When I mean sold out, I only have one of these books left. I think there was some hanky-panky when we moved from California to Texas, and I think some boxes got lost. So there's only one of the original book in existence, and I own it, and I will not sell it. I can't believe that happened. Oh, and real quick, we have this original page 20, which we have offered. So every once in a while, we put up new original artwork, and this one here is up for grabs. So this is page 20. This is the one with Whitney on the motorcycle. I've shown it. Maybe I'll show it again on the live stream, just to, if there's any original art collectors out there that might want to get some original black and white artwork, they can back that tier. Then we have the Capullo variants. We only have a limited amount of these as well. So the remastered one on the left is completely sold out, but we have a few of the Virgin variants, but they are only available in the black and white jam tier. So if you want to get a Greg Capullo cover, that's the place to do it. Just a little story about this. I don't tell this often, but I had the original, the last campaign I sold actually I gave the original away, I believe, in a contest. So I gave the original cover away, which I still think about it. It's like, wow, that was pretty crazy. But I like people to actually own my art. I don't like to hoard it. If there's people that can enjoy it, I think that's the better thing. And so I had the original. I looked at it and I was like, well, I could digitally clean this up. I could re-ink this, make it look a little bit more contemporary, and then I could get it recolored. And that's what I did. And I liked it so much, then we offered it as a variant with issue 1's campaign. And then we pretty much sold out of that. And so then we did a second chance campaign, and we did the Virgin variant. And we did that because you guys in the chat, you're the ones that brought that up. And so we did that. And now we're almost sold out of those as well. So like I said, you can only get those in the jam tier. And then if you're an original art collector and don't have a lot of cash for an original page, you can get an original page layout. So these are layouts for the original page. And I'm going to show you a couple more today. So that's the work in progress stuff I'm going to show you. So there's a lot of these pages. I think we're about halfway sold out. So the whole book is available. Let me see how many we've sold so far, if I can find it. There it is. Original story layout, 31 of 63. So yeah, we're about halfway sold on those. So there's still 32 or 33 pages available. So if you like that, you can get that as an add-on as well. So it has its own tier, and you can get it as an add-on. All these books you can get as add-ons. T-shirts as well. I think the Greg Capullo is the only one you can't get as an add-on. So that's that. And then you guys, please come by, check out these stretch goals. We've done some cool stuff. We've upgraded the book. We got UV coating. We got square bound. We got heavier stock paper, cover, all kinds of cool enhancements for the book. We got some great freebies. We got the black and white patch. We have a whole, we got the Joe Fulton and my story breakdown. And then you guys will get the actual drawn breakdowns as well, the layouts. So you'll get the complete work in progress as a PDF. So you're not going to get the original pages, but you'll get a PDF of that. Also, you guys helped with the epilogue. So we got 4 extra pages. So now this is a 68-page book. So you got that. So that's going to be fun. The epilogue will have a little bit, it'll kind of tie up the story proper, and then we'll kind of project where the story is going to go from here, the next story arc. And so there's UV enhancements. And then we have the trading card set too. I'm going to get more into that as we move along, but you guys keep sending artwork in. It's a contest, and we're going to choose 5 of the best cards, and then we're going to make those into trading cards, and that will be amazing. And and then we have the black and white die cut sticker, and this is going to be great. Oh, we got the enamel pins too, the 100K enamel pins. Those came out really fantastic. I think I have some of that stuff here. I can show it to you when we come back. the sticker, the patch. Yeah, so there's stuff getting done, you guys. We are moving forward on the manufacturing. And this right here, this is the main cover, but we also had this as a limited tier. I might bring that back. I was thinking about that, so you can get the black and white in black and white. So I really like the way the line art came out on this cover. So I was thinking, well, I did. I actually made it as a limited tier. So it's like a 72-hour kind of thing, and you can back the black and white cover. So I might do that again. I think I did that twice so far. Give you guys a chance to get that cover again. And so there's these great T-shirts. We got the wraparound black and white T-shirt designed by Shay Red Valkyrie, and then we have I think we have, yeah, there's the Inco T-shirt. So there's all kinds of cool stuff, you guys. The black and white link is in the description. Let me show this video. I haven't shown this one in a while. I always like this one. So these are all images from the first issue. There's the first issue cover. Can only be 1, 2, 3, 4. Good stuff, man. All right. Let's go back to the wall. Ooh, wow, the sun came out. I'm sorry, you guys. Hold on. Let me fix this camera. Man, that is bright. Yeah, it's been a little overcast here, so I had the shades open. This camera does not like too much light. Let me see if that worked. Yeah, that's better. All right, let me go back to the chat. I have I just got this too from Marvel. So I'll open this up for you. See what's in it. Do. All right. Thank you, Frankie. Do. We got Shadowhawk Talks. Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, Von Klaus is a great guy. Really talented, really talented. He's one of my favorite writing talents here at CG. I really like his ideas, and he gets everything that I'm doing. So he put a great video together for his Monster MD book, and so I reached out to him early on to do the Chrono Mechanics video. And I told him the concept and everything, and he got it right away. And I liked working with him on that because it was just easy. The guy he understands this stuff. And so then we, when Pedro showed his talents to me, I was like, yeah, we could get Von Klaus in here to write this thing. So for the High Octane, I just gave Von Klaus a pitch for an idea, and he ran with it. And he did the first draft, which was pretty much spot on. I just had a couple notes, and then he wrote a second draft, and that was the story. I mean, he got it right away. And then there was just a couple dialogue notes, and he put those together. And yeah, we had the High Octane book. Yeah, that guy he just gets it. So these are the stretch goals, you guys. So this is the patch. This is the embroidered black and white patch, iron-on. We got the Inko stickers, so you guys are going to get that with a backing. That's good ink. We got the black. These things came out really cool. The black and white die cut stickers, and they're all really big. And then this is the enamel pin. So this was the 100K stretch goal. Yeah, so there's all kinds of cool stuff for you guys. Pamela loves putting the stretch goals together. What is this? Any chance we can get an Aunt Pam's triple chocolate chip cookie for a stretch goal? I wonder if you could ship. I don't think you could ship food. Oh, cool. Thanks. Follow Red Valkyrie here on YouTube. Yeah, she's good people. Shay is good people indeed. And here's a link to the black and white, you guys. It's also in the description. Deep in the heart of Texas. Yes. We got Splat. Is that Splat Guts? Splat Guts. What's good? Everything's good in the neighborhood. Yeah, we're just going to hang out for a while, and then I'm going to get back to work. But yeah, this right here, I got a couple days ago, and I was going to open it on live stream because I have absolutely no idea what it is. Sometimes Marvel gets generous and sends me books that I've worked on. So I have a feeling it is a book. But what is the book? I have no idea. What is it? It could be an X-Men. It could be... Man, this thing's taped up good. Let me see. Where's the other end here? Oh, the dog just came in. I have a funny video too. I think 6 a.m. Comics put it together, where the dog just destroys the studio here. Okay, here we go. Oh, there we are. Let me see what all the hubbub is all about. So this came from Midtown Comics. I think Midtown Comics does all the I think they do the DC stuff too. They send out. Oh, what? Who did this cover? So this is. It looks like they're once again repackaging and selling the Fantastic Four stuff. That this is the original. That Walter Simonson, Art Adams, and I did. Let me see. I hate when they do this, by the way, too. It's like where I share credits with Al Milgram. I mean, come on. My credit should be bigger, and then Al Milgram should be smaller. I hate when they do that. But there's the credits there. Nothing against Al Milgram, but he wasn't the main inker on the book. So welcome to Marvel Tales. Let me turn this off. Yeah, it doesn't help much, but yeah, so little blast from the past. So Marvel only sent me one of these. So I guess I need to take care of this thing. Those are good times, man. I had a lot of fun. Art Adams is a lot of work to ink, but it's a lot of fun as well. Al, I haven't looked at this stuff in a while. Wow, Namor's in it too. He punches Sue. It's not cool, man. But it's not. It's a scroll. Yeah, it's good times. Oh, here's some of the good stuff. I don't know why they didn't get Art Adams to do the cover. They got somebody else. This was when they repackaged it for the trade. Let me see if they... I'm not sure what this was for. Let me see. It says Fantastic Four Monsters Unleashed trade paperback. So this is pretty cool. Art Adams. I did not work on that. I think they commissioned art years later. This is from Monsters Unleashed as well. These are all better covers than the one they got. Bonus special. Wow. All kinds of Art Adams stuff here. Ooh, there's some concept stuff. Here's some layouts. You can't see them very well. So the cover was done by Logan Lubera. He's kind of got a Art Adams style, but it's not quite as cool. Let me do it this way. So yeah, thanks Marvel for one book. It probably costs more to ship this sucker. Yeah, they used to send like a stack of books. So yeah, this was good times. I wonder if it says when it was originally printed. I don't think they do. It was a while ago. A-list Arthur Adams, Walter Simonson. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Good times. So yeah, we got that. Oh, I wanted to show this too. I thought this was funny. Let me go back. Man, my computer's being slow. Oh, here it is. And let me see. Oh, here it is right here. This is funny. Okay. Yeah, the pooch is around. He's being good right now. He's usually pretty good. He's just a puppy, so he gets like puppy energy. Let me share this. Hey, get down. Okay, so hey, Arrow, get down. This is from the professionals the other night.
Mark, I don't want to be the one to bring this up to you, but there's a crime scene behind you.
I know. Dude, what is up with that? So wait, is Aaron gonna kick us down at the same time?
Yes. Let's go.
Graham was blood loss.
Yeah, so the dog just came in.
The dog was just ripping that whole thing apart. You didn't even realize.
Dog's a killer, man.
Wrestling gets the dog excited. So does Irene when Irene gets all Irene-y.
That gets the dog excited, or
He gets the dog crazy. Then dog will start running around the house when Irene starts laughing, and then the octaves go up. Is it the pitch?
Yeah.
I think so. I think
It's found only the post in here.
it's like yes, sis.
So thanks 6 a.m. for that. That was good. So apparently what happened on the professionals, sometimes the dog kind of he'll sneak up behind me and Pamela, she got him like this giant piece of bacon. It was just a stuffed piece of bacon, right? And then there's this big stuffed turkey leg. And so we both knew that they weren't going to last very long. Like there's these Kong toys. I don't know if you guys have dogs, but those things are kind of indestructible. So we usually get him those, but some of the stuff just looks so fun. You want to get it, and, but if it's soft, like a pillow type thing, he'll just rip it to shreds. And that's what he did with that piece of bacon. So what you saw on the studio floor was, that was all inside the bacon and he tore that sucker apart. So I thought that was funny that they called it a crime scene. I think Graham Nolan called it a crime scene. And then 6 a.m., I think that spotlight of the dog coming in to the crime scene, I thought that was hilarious. You guys are the best. Yes, back the black and white. Let's see, where are we? We got JJW. How are you? Welcome to the show. We got We got Comic Talk with Pops Van Zant. What's up? We got Leg Kick. We got American Comics. Joseph Dredd, the dreaded Joseph. Oh man, we're getting some people in here. Robert Murdoch, how are you, man? Well, I don't know about great, but Legend's okay. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I did tease some layouts. We could do some layouts. We could do some black and white layouts, and this is a hangout stream. So anybody new in, just ask me anything. This is all interactive. We're gonna hang out. Oh, before we do that, I was wondering what you guys think of this. I had predicted this thing years ago. Well, let me get to this. Wow, I'm all over the place. Jerry Roscoe, hey Art, I was wondering if I could share the link to my upcoming campaign trailer. The book is written by my creative partner. Oh, Terry Solis. I know Terry, and drawn by me. Of course, man. You know what? If you want to come on the show, and better yet, if you want to come on the show with Terry, you're always welcome. Yeah, send it to just private message me either on Twitter or on Facebook, and I'll look it over, and then we can touch base. I haven't talked to Terry in years. Terry's good people, so yes, the answer is yes. 31 watching. Woot, hit the like and thank you. Yes, hit that like. Joseph says, what kind of dog do you have? He's a shepherd mix. So he's a border collie shepherd mix. So everything that's in that dog is all high maintenance. The dog is hyper alert. He is really, really smart, like really intelligent. Pamela and I kid that he's kind of like an evil genius. When he was really, really small, man, there was no restraint. That dog was off the hook. He has gotten a lot better. So with a lot of love, a lot of patience, a lot of training, and he's a good dog. He's a good dog. He has moments, but mostly he's a good dog. So Zaid Comics, how you doing, Phil? Yeah, Phil, thanks again for bringing me into that whole CG summer swimsuit. That thing was a blast to do. And I do believe the summer swimsuit is still in demand. So if Past Master or anybody else has a wrench, give that a wrenching. And you guys go check out that summer swimsuit. There's a wraparound by Del Keown, and it's fantastic. And prominently on the back is black and white. And seeing, Del draw my characters was just a freaking blast, man. The book looks great. I mean, all the CG greats are in the book. And we've been talking about doing something like this for years. And Phil and Brandon actually took it upon themselves to make this thing happen. So, this has been years in the making. Most of this stuff is years in the making. So let's see what Phil says. Thank you, Art. Your piece is amazing. Thank you. Oh, there we go. CG Vacation here. So I keep calling it swimsuit, I think, because of the Marvel swimsuit. So it's the CG Vacation. So click that link if you like what you see back today. I had said this years ago, okay? And I remember also having a talk with Rob Liefeld this was years ago, and that Rob and I were talking. We were at like a coffee shop when I still lived in California, and we were kind of like the future of DC. I think this will date it. We were working on Hawkman together, so that was starting to fall apart. We had they were going to cancel the book and stuff like that. So we were talking, and I think there was a lot of change in the air at DC, and so it was just kind of like sharing thoughts and concerns about DC. And so one of the things that came up was Jim Lee. And so one of the things was that we were both thinking that Dan DiDio or Jim Lee brought Dan DiDio in as a fall guy because they were like co-publishers or something like that. And there was really no reason for a co-publisher kind of idea. So I thought that was weird at the time. So did Rob. And so then we were thinking that if the crap hit the fan, that DiDio would be the fall guy. He would get the hit. He would get the hit because we were both in agreement that Jim is a pretty shrewd business guy. He's great at survival and he's great at taking care of Jim. He might not be the best at running a publishing company, but he's really good at taking care of himself. And so, there was Bob Harris, and then there was Dan DiDio, and they were both kind of, I think they were Jim Lee's ideas. And I know that Bob Harris was. And so then before Bob could get the axe, Bob quit, which I thought that showed some some backbone, because I think in his own way, he was protesting and saying that the ideas that are moving forward here at DC, I don't want to have anything to do with. And he probably knew that because of that, he was going to get fired. And so he left. So that was Bob Harris. And so then the other thing was, what would Jim do then? So you got Rob Liefeld, and I talking, and then what would Jim do if DC wasn't real happy with him? What if Warner Brothers wasn't real happy with Jim? And so then we were just speculating. Well, he would go to Marvel. He would go to Marvel. And then he would hit a grand slam home run with a X-Men story arc. And there's new rumors floating around that that's what he's going to do. I don't know. I haven't heard the X-Men thing, but that's what Rob and I were saying. And I think that would make him relevant. It would also gain him some cred at Marvel, because let's face it, that book would do really, really well. That book would do fantastic. Let me say hi to some people. We got JV. We got Jeff Potts. What's up? It was either change in the air or someone farted. I don't know what that's reference to. We got, what is that? Ginge? Gingerton? Is that Ginge? Gingy? Gingerton? I like that. Morning, nerds. Nerd. Let me see. What does Danke say? Jim Lee was a terrible publisher. He should stick to drawing. Yeah, I mean, there's part of me that, I mean, Jim really helped me a lot. He stood by me. He opened some doors. He's a good guy, but also at the time it served him as well. So, but yeah, I never thought that like with Wildstorm and Image, I don't think he was particularly good. And I think when you can tell a good businessman is not when things are doing well, when your books are selling millions of copies a month and you're making, a ton of money, that's not really a show or a tell of your business. I think it's when things are tough, when things are tight, and you can still make ends meet. I think that's a sign of a good businessman. And then you can build it back up to, making, good money again. But, anything with the Image eye at one time was going to sell a certain amount of books. So you didn't even really have to try too hard to achieve that. So, in the early days of Image, the books kind of sold themselves. And so when things got tight, you saw who was able to sustain it and who was not. Obviously, Todd McFarlane was able to sustain it. Top Cow sustained it. I think Jim Lee must have known that he didn't have the skills to pull it off to make Wildstorm work. He just didn't have it. Maybe he didn't have the drive either. Maybe he just didn't want to do it. So he sold the company to DC Comics, which was contingent on that he would go over there as well, and that he would work there as, I don't know, was president, or I forget what his original title was. So then he kind of worked up the ladder there, and then became, publisher, and so on and so forth. So now he's like the guy. Like, there's no Bob Harris, there's no Dan DiDio, there's nobody else, there's no Diane Nelson, there's none of that. So it's just him, and we haven't seen any leadership come out of that. We haven't seen any direction, we haven't seen anything. So I just don't think he has it in him. Jim's go-to usually is to rebrand or renumber. That's usually what he does, is like, well, we'll just start the whole series over with a number one, like the New 52 that had Jim written all over it. Like, let's just start over with number ones. We'll do a soft reboot, kind of thing. And once again, there's just no stick-to-itiveness. There's no follow-through. And so then that just went the way of the dodo. So now we're here. DC is putting out really questionable content. We got David Zaslav coming in. I know he's looking at the DC franchise. He's looking at the comics. He's looking at the future of their cinematic universe, all those things. And so Jim has to be scrutinized like crazy right now. So I don't think he's got the goods to double down and to make this thing work. So my gut says that early conversation I had with Rob is going to take place. I think that Jim is going to jump ship. He's going to go over to Marvel, and he's going to do an X-Men book, because I think that will gain him relevance. I think the numbers will be higher than anything that's in the industry right now. I think he'll bring a lot of old school, comic book people that have left Marvel and DC. He'll bring them back, at least for that series, and the numbers will be impressive. And that will be enough to sustain him for a couple years at Marvel. What he's going to do after that, I have no idea, because putting him in charge of a publishing company, I don't think he's got the resume for it. I don't think there's enough success there that you could go, Jim could pull this off. I think Quesada was a guy. He was an idea guy. He was a good person to put in and try to move things forward with Marvel publishing. But I don't think Jim's that guy. Like I said, I think Jim's really good at taking care of Jim. Not that I'm not even judging it whether it's good or bad. I mean, it's good in a way. It's good for Jim, but I guess it's bad for a publishing company. So if Marvel's thinking he's going to be the savior long term, if he does go over there, I don't think that's going to happen. So let's see what Jeff has to say. Are we sure they left of their own accord at Marvel? The Image guys? Yeah, they did. I'm not sure who they are. So if you could clarify that, Jeff, that'd be great. Let's see. Ginge. I've kind of stepped away from mainstream comics. Silvestri is fun. Silvestri's new Batman book looks badass. It's fun to see come back, but I'm not sure I'm going to pick up the issues. No, I don't think it's going to be woke. I think it was all written and drawn before the new DC mandates. I think you're going to get good stuff. That's my gut anyway. I don't think Silvestri's woke. Not sure I'm going to pick up. I mean, at one time I was kind of close with Mark, and I've never had like Save the Whales or any kind of like progressive kind of conversations with him. He's a businessman. He's an artist. I've just been picking up random stuff, indie stuff, if it's in a shop. Yeah. I think that's probably the best way to go. I think that the Comicsgate books are really good. There's there's very little agenda, if any, in these books. So I think Ethan Van Sciver is going to be shipping his Wrecked Planet Cyber Frog book soon. So if you can still get that, you should get that, because you won't have to wait very long to get it shipped out to you. Also, Andy Smith has First Man still in demand. There's a lot of books that are in demand right now that are finished that you can get. I'm not sure if Aaron Lepresti's Wraith of God, I think he might have closed that campaign. But yeah, I'm going to pick up the Silvestri stuff. And to be honest, if Jim decided he was going to do an X-Men run, I would pick it up for sure. I mean, I think he still has the goods. In a way, I think he's a better artist now than he was in the day. Danky says Jim Lee should bring a good writer to his X-Men book. Yeah, I would. I think what I would do is I would bring Chris Claremont in. I would bring Chris in and see what Chris could pitch. I'm sure Jim's got an idea. Like, Jim's pretty good at like ideas, like story ideas. He knows what is marketable and what sells. So he's a good businessman. I'm not sure that he's like a brilliant writer. So I think Jim could probably throw some ideas out there. Him and Chris Claremont could brainstorm, and then do a good X-Men story. Yeah, I mean, there's that too. So Joseph says, I think Jim Lee wants a golden parachute from Warner Brothers. Yeah, there's that. He's put in the time for sure, but they have to know. I think most people know he's just not the guy. I don't think he's going to be the guy that saves DC publishing. Sorry, Jim. I just don't see it. I think if he wanted to get DC some attention, I think if he started drawing again, I think he could do that. I think I heard somewhere where they said Wildcats revamp. I'm not sure if anybody's excited about that. If Jim Lee draws it, perhaps. But I think they tried that before and they got like one issue out. You know, that's the thing. Like, I think there's kind of there's not a lot of trust there either, you know, to follow through with it. So we'll see. We will see. Let's but that is a good observation. You know, he might stay there just for that. It's, you know, I wouldn't fault him for it. You know, he's put his time in there for sure. I just don't think he's the guy that's going to save DC Comics and make it great again. Personally, my biggest concern out of all of this is the old WBHB Hanna-Barbera cartoons. God save the Boomerang channel. Yeah, they have. It's weird because like this was years ago. I read, it was probably in the Hollywood Reporter or something like that, and there was Warner Brothers execs talking about how Disney had an unfair advantage because they have all this IP and stuff like that. It was just like sour grapes, right? And I was thinking, Warner Brothers has all the Looney Tunes. They have the Hanna-Barbera. And you know what? They also have amusement parks. They have all the things that Disney has. They just don't have the vision. They don't go to the Disney vault. They don't hold their IP in any kind of regard. Like, everything is fairly disposable, and most of the time I don't even think they know what they have half the time. So they do nothing with it. Disney is really good at keeping that stuff going and keeping it alive. And I don't feel bad for Warner Brothers. I think they have so much, but they do so little with it. And they could make so much money, but they don't do anything. They have amusement parks. I've had friends, executives that were overseeing some of the Six Flag parks and stuff. And they had great ideas, but nothing ever got executed. So let me see what Tara Wombat says. Will I think that's supposed to be Old Image Bros, take over DC, take a percent instead of the salary? I don't see Todd doing that. I think Eric Larson would probably jump on. I think that Silvestri probably would. Who else is there? I mean, Valentino, I think, is really, I think he was probably the oldest out of all of us. And I think he's probably pretty retired at this point. I don't think he has any interest in really doing any monthly stuff. So, I mean, he might bring some of his IP over there, might oversee some stuff, Shadowhawk, things like that. But I don't think Jim's got too much. So if you don't have Todd, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you could bring, if Rob Liefeld would come back. I mean, Rob's already done projects for DC in the past, so I don't know if that would be that big of a deal. I don't think that Eric has done any DC stuff lately or recently. So I guess maybe Eric Larson still has some fans that would follow him over, maybe resurrect Doom Patrol or do some Titan stuff. I don't know. I don't see that as resurrecting. I mean, if they could get all those guys, all 7 of the originals, get Will Spertasio in there, all that stuff, and maybe put them on some cool books and have some great writers and can really advertise this thing the way it should be, maybe they could. Maybe, I think it would be interesting to try to see. I've never heard anybody mention that, so who knows? American Comics says the inroads for Jim is that the mainstream sees producers as a meat market. Merit is irrelevant for that foot in the door. Yeah. What I've noticed the last couple years at DC is they weren't giving talent long runs on books. Like I remember having a conversation with Norm Rapman, and he said, how do you become a superstar these days? And I said, I don't think the industry wants superstars, because all those ways that you used to be able to do that are gone now. So you could do like a year run on something. Like sometimes things don't stick right away. Like when we were working on the Superman stuff, in the day, like 40 years ago, whatever it was, it was a slow burn. Like the new team, Jerry Ordway, Dan Jurgens, George Perez. I can't remember all the talent that was on there. John Byrne. It was kind of like it was a slow evolution up to like the wedding and then the death of and all that stuff. So it took a while to build that thing. And so that was a run. So you can do that. So that's one way you can kind of become something, or you can make a franchise or a book sell well because you win people over every month. Then word of mouth gets out, and then people start every month. It starts building and building and building. So you could do that. Or you could have the company behind you. They could promote you. Like I remember having a conversation with McFarlane in the day, and he was like, Jim Lee was Marvel's darling. They didn't promote me the way they promoted Jim Lee. And Jim played good within the corporate structure. Todd, not so much. So what Jim did in the day also is he gave them artwork. So I remember Jim would say, hey, could you ink this art? And I go, oh, sure. And I'd say, well, do I voucher for this? He goes, we're just doing this on spec. He said, I'm sure you'll be paid for it, but we're just doing this, as a form of advertising. So we're giving Marvel artwork to sell these books, and the artwork will be so good they can't say no. So Jim was a smart businessman. He understood give to get. So he would do artwork that wasn't even asked for, send it in, and then he would get advertising out of it. And so then he realized you could advertise. So then the company started advertising artists. So when Image happened, it was all artist based, right? So those names sold the books. And then what Marvel and DC started doing, especially Marvel, is they got like Joe Mad, the Kubert brothers, Johnny Romita Jr. They got some of those guys under exclusives, and then they started promoting those guys, making them big names. And so they in turn became big names for the company. But there was a switch over. So once the market crashed, writers kind of took over. So the companies didn't want to dote on the artist anymore because they wanted to win this little battle, right? It's like Image had the artists, they didn't really have the writers. So then, Marvel and DC started putting more effort into writing. So then they started promoting the writers. They started promoting Jeff Johns. They started promoting Michael Bendis, Mark Miller, all those guys. And so then they made superstars out of those guys. But then what they were doing is they were playing down the pencilers and the inkers, the artists. They were playing those guys down because they didn't want to create another Image situation. They didn't want superstars. They didn't want that. And so they intentionally were playing them down. And so then when Jim went over to DC Comics, when Dan DiDio was running DC, he was paying well, he was promoting, he was doing all those things. So he was getting good talent in. But I do believe Jim's influence on DC Comics was because he knew firsthand not to really promote those guys. And so the only people that got promoted at DC were people that had to be promoted. So like Greg Capullo, Jeff Johns. They were already promoting Jeff Johns, so they were promoting writers. But I do believe the only one that really got promotion was Greg Capullo. I don't even think Dave Finch got as much promotion as Capullo did. So they knew that if they didn't promote Greg Capullo, he would go somewhere else. And they knew that he was better there to give them the competitive edge than he would be working at Marvel or wherever else. And so they treated him well. But everybody else, you get 3 issues, you get 4 issues, you get whatever, and then you don't have a chance to establish a following. So that's what I told Norm. I said those days are gone. You're not gonna. And then as far as inker, if you're thinking that there's going to be a superstar inker, that will never happen again. I'll say it right now. There will never be a superstar inker. There will never be a Terry Austin. There will never be a Dick Giordano. There will never be, Scott Williams. There will never be me. There will never be those things again because we came in pre-digital. We came in pre-digital coloring. So comics were reliant more on the line work than it was on the coloring. So the coloring was kind of the same newsprint, dot pattern coloring. There were some advancements, on the X books, like some of the printing was getting better and the coloring was getting better, but it was still pretty much prehistoric by today's standards. So then digital came in. And so when I was working at Marvel, there were a couple jobs, X-Men jobs actually with Salvador LaRocca. I think it was Extinction or some book like that. I was supposed to work on it, and then they wanted to get Liquid in to color it, and they actually posed this question to Salvador LaRocca, and they said, "We don't have the budget for both, so you have to choose." So Salvador actually took coloring over the inking. They probably also paid him more because he had to, pencil a little tighter or whatever, right? So I know that Marvel did a lot to kind of discredit inking. Like they were kind of trying to save money, and then just kind of play down the inker's contribution. And so what happened at best is it became kind of a 50-50, where if you were a creative team on a book editorially, you thought about coloring and inking in the same way. Where before, when I worked, in the day when you could become a superstar, kind of thing, is there were only 3 people on the book. There was 3 talent. They considered talent. It was the writer, penciler, inker. They were considered talent. Everything else was production. So lettering was production and coloring was production. It was never considered art. So now, coloring is considered art. So there you go. So a lot of these things kind of built up over the years, but also tore down the individual. So there's very little chance that they're going to build a superstar out of nobody. And the only way they're going to do that is if they can control that person, but they're still going to do it very, very sparingly, because they know how to make a star. They just don't want to do it. So I think that's interesting. Yeah, I liked the Epic books too. The Marvel Epic collections are awesome. Marvel Before Dark Times, Before the Empire. Yeah. Let's see what Cam says. Jim Lee represents everything wrong in mainstream comics. Like I said, I think there are people I've met and I've kind of observed over years that that are very generous and think a big picture. Like Dick Giordano, when he ran DC Comics, he was a big picture guy. He took it. He looked at the whole company. He looked at the publishing. He looked at all that. Paul Levitz as well. Case in point, Dick Giordano came up with Batman Returns. An older Batman, retired Batman, comes back. I don't know how much of the story he had, but he knew he wasn't the right guy to do it. So he wooed Frank Miller with the idea, and then he knew Frank was the right guy to do it. That's very generous. You know what I mean? That's like not trying to take the limelight. That's giving somebody else the limelight and knowing that it's the better way to go. So I think when you run companies, you have to be like that. You have to go, what's best for the company, not what's best for me as an individual. And I think Jim Lee is talent. Jim Lee is still a superstar. So he's still maintaining that. So there's kind of a conflict of interest there a little bit. You know what I mean? There's Jim Lee as the talent. There's Jim Lee as the publisher. So I think like when Quesada came in, Quesada kind of pulled back a little bit of being the creative guy, doing books, stuff like that. So I don't know if Jim Lee is. I think Jim Lee, like the best way I could explain it is Jim Lee's good at taking care of Jim Lee. I put Kevin Smith in the same category. I think Kevin Smith is a sociopath, but I think Kevin Smith is good at taking care of Kevin Smith. Like the brand is Kevin Smith. It's not the company. It's not the book. It's not the IP. It's not that. It's Kevin Smith. So when Kevin Smith does Masters of the Universe, Kevin Smith gets he gets the spotlight. So so Kevin Smith is good at taking care of Kevin Smith. Jim Lee is good at taking care of Jim Lee. So there are people that are like that. Like they're the brand. I just think that people who hire them need to understand those things. And then if you can still make it work, then you make it work within those confines. But yeah, I don't know if he's everything wrong with mainstream though. Past Master Jim is I got mine kind of guy. I think so. I think it's first and foremost him and then the company. And I think when you run a company, I think it needs to be the company first and foremost. So Cam says Jim Lee has helped ruin DC publishing. He stood by and watched it happen. I do think there's truth in that. I do think, but I don't know what else he could have done, because I don't think he really is a publisher. I think he's talent. I hope everyone sees Jim Lee as a terrible publisher. Once again, he's a good businessman when it comes to Jim Lee, because Jim will survive this regardless. Like somebody in the chat said the golden parachute. He might hang out for the golden parachute, and I don't know how many years he's got to do that, stay in the game for that. But then, if he still has his chops, he can go over at Marvel and still do the X-Men thing. I don't know. I don't know if there's a statute of limitations. Like if at some point the fans of that 90s stuff will age out by the time he gets around to the X-Men, I don't know. But if he did it now, I think it would do well. So thanks, Craig, for that. Danky says Jim Lee is a phenomenal artist. He should stick to that. And not Wildcats. Yeah, I don't know about Wildcats either. I don't know if he was to pencil that, if that would be the big hit. I think he still needs an IP, like when he did the Batman Hush stuff. Yeah, I don't either. I think he's still really good. I still think he'd be able to do a good miniseries. Let's see. American Comics Six Flags still has the DC theme, even though they don't own anymore. Well, they must be paying a licensing fee to them. So I don't know if Warner still owns Six Flags, but they still license the stuff then. Yeah. The comic book industry used to be run more by the creatives. Like you'd get a good editor in there, and then he would hire good people that he trusted, and then he would wrangle them, and basically they would just do like brainstorm sessions, see where these writers wanted to take things, make sure everybody was on board with that, and then move forward. And then the editor would make sure that everything worked, like everything moved forward, that there was continuity and that everybody was happy on the book. But I think now these corporate, and I think most things are like this, it's not just DC. These corporate heads started thinking that they were creative people. And so then they started dictating terms to the creative people instead of letting the creative people do what creative people do. And I think that's why you see all these rehashing of old IP. You see remake after remake after remake, because these guys don't have ideas. They don't have any new ideas. They're not fostering a place where new ideas can come from. They're just rehashing old stuff because they don't have any ideas. They can't do anything other than that. And I believe that's why things have kind of stagnated and just slowed down, because I think you have non-creative people making creative decisions. Is Jim retired? I don't know. Oh, he just announced it? Oh, shit. Well, this is very topical then. You're hearing this first. Thanks, Past Master Dan. So Jim Lee, I guess, has said he's retired. I'm going to type that in and see if I can find anything. This could be big news. Jim Lee retired. It actually shows up. Ethan Van Sciver says it. Are you recently retired or quickly? Yeah, the first one that shows up is Ethan saying it. So this is. Let me see. We'll come back to it. Let's see what this is about. Do. I have not seen this. Okay, so this is Cosmic Book News. DC Comics closing, Jim Lee leaving, says Ethan Van Sciver. So let's see if there's any hard proof here. In the wake of the layoffs of recent changes, what date is on this? This is November 12th. Oh, this is 2020. Yeah, this is old stuff. Let me go back. Stop sharing. Let's see if I can find some. That's the first one that shows up though in Google search. Is Jim Lee DCCCO? Jim Lee says there's no truth to the rumor that Warner Brothers is shutting the comic book publishing arm of the company. DC Chief Creative Officer Jim Lee promised that the publishing arm of the entertainment company isn't going anywhere. That's August 4th. None of these are new. These are all old. So I don't know if there's any truth to that. So maybe it's so brand new that nobody's heard about it. Valentino is 80. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't think he has a lot of interest in in penciling any comics. Past Master says, at least I was on a show recently where Jim was discussed. Oh. Derail Gaming. The Valentino interview with Billy was great the other day. Yeah, Billy Tucci gets some good people on that. Heroes Reborn, Electric Boogaloo. I worked on that Heroes Return. I thought it was all kind of stupid. Emo version of X-Men, Weapon Soy X. Cam says, that is what bothers me so much about Lee, is he's smart and does know how to sell books. He just doesn't seem to care. I don't know if he knows how to sell books as much as he knows how to sell his own books. Yeah. Jeff Potts says Banshee doesn't scream, he cries loudly. Brian Christofferson, hell yeah, you're a Donald Trump fan. I would like to see the Donster in power right now versus the power that we have right now. The thing about holding your place in a big corporation is that after a while, you learn that your survival in the organization depends on not caring. Yeah, because two, if you put your ass on the line and you have an idea, right? And you really think that it's going to change things for the better. If you put your butt on the line and it doesn't work out, you're probably not going to work there anymore. And that's the problem with these corporate structures and these type of situations, because creativity cannot. How can you move forward? How can anything new take place if you don't encourage people to take chances? If you don't encourage people to take chances, then things are going to stagnate and things are going to die. So these guys, let's just say, let's give Jim Lee the benefit of the doubt. Like maybe he's got a bunch of ideas, but he knows if he throws them out there and they don't work, he'll get fired. So there goes his golden parachute. So yeah, I think politics is the same way. I think you get good at placating the powers that be. I think you get good at just taking care of what needs to be taken care of, but not really moving things in any real direction.
I think we saw Dan DiDio with I forget what his initiative was, and it got slammed, and then he got fired. So, at least Dan was putting stuff on the line. But I also think that the higher ups need to start taking responsibility for some of these things as well, because I don't think the buck stops with the person that comes up with the idea. I think the buck stops with the person that okayed the idea as well. So before you okay these ideas, make sure it's a good idea. If Jim Lee did have a great idea, it goes up, sells it, and the high ups, as usual, would just go, okay, knowing that if it screws up, Jim's going to get fired, and then they'll keep moving on, because they have to fire that guy, because they have to take the eyes off of them, right? So there has to be a sacrificial lamb, because they can't take the heat. So whoever came up with the idea then gets canned, right? But there's no initiative. There's no reason to come up with new ideas if that's the case. So if somebody comes up to these executives, has a good idea, those executives need to research it. They need to look into it, and then they need to stand by it. They need to stand by those decisions for right or wrong and follow it through. There just isn't anything like that. Nobody's got any guts. Nobody has any dig down. Nobody has any dedication to the ideas. And so how can you build a following if you don't have a corporation that's going to stand by it? New 52, like all these different things, these relaunch after relaunch, you lose people after a while, because they're just gimmicks. They're just gimmicks to get eyes on things. You get a new number one, you build your numbers, and then they go back to probably less than they were when you began. I think you need long-term goals. You need long-term execution, and then you need stick-to-itiveness. I remember I wasn't there for a lot of the Death of Superman stuff, but I was friends with most of those guys. And when they killed off Superman, when they decided they were going to do that, they all agreed that it can't be a gimmick. It can't just be a one-off. We can't kill Superman and then the next month bring him back. Then it looks like a gimmick. We have to stick to this idea. And so they figured they would keep him dead for a year, right? There would be no Clark Kent Superman for a year. And then they were like, well, we have 4 books. We have 4 creative teams. What do we do? And so then they were like, well, we fill that gap. Who would fill the gap of Superman? How would that look? What would that be? How would that look like? And then the 4 creative teams came up with stuff. And then that's what they did for the year. But they stayed with it. They had it all mapped out. They executed it based on those ideas. I mean, that's what you have to do. You have to stick with these ideas, because if they would have folded in the middle because of sales or whatever, then what would have looked like? It would have looked like, well, it's a cheap shot to everybody that bought into it. All the people that liked what was happening, you just threw them under the bus. And that's why you can't do that. You have to stick with this. You need to have, if you think it is a gimmick, figure out ways around the gimmick. If you think it has a shelf life, but for how long, then build in an exit point. You know what I mean? And then roll that into something else. Just do your job. You know what I mean? But it doesn't happen anymore. Edwin the Ace, Volume 2, live Indiegogo. Hell peeps. Let's see what Derail Gaming. Kozar by the Barton Brothers is about to ship out, and it's still in demand. The art in the book is really good if anyone wants a quick turnaround. Yeah, I said it earlier, there's books that are in demand right now that are either printed and ready to go, like First Man, or some of these other books that will go out soon. Dave Finch is so good. I love his art. Yeah. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. And hopefully after Black and White, you will think Superior Storyteller as well. That is now mainstream across the board. The only thing they get behind are titles, brands, hints, the failing tunnel vision, DC Cinematics, the DCU. The DCU is falling the same way. They just don't have the overview. They don't have the leadership, and they don't have the follow through. I mean, there's always going to be the talent, but you got to let the talent do what they can do, what they do, and what they do best. Marvel over DC any day. Guy from Red Bank. Hey, yo. Let's see. Hell Art, Hell Chat. Oh, this is turning into a good time, you guys. I knew if we stumbled around, we'd find something to talk about. The stars are now CG. Hell yeah. You got that right. Hey, oh my gosh, I'm starting to smell it. My wife is making homemade spaghetti for tonight's dinner, and I can smell the cooking. I can smell what The Rock is cooking. I have no idea how far back I am. I did have a bad experience with Kevin Smith. That guy's a two-face. I'm a sociopath. Well, now I'm figuring out how far back I am. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I do a horrible job with keeping up on things. Yeah, I think it's going to be good. On the Pontificators the other night, we showed some of the artwork and we talked about it. If you guys haven't seen that episode, go back. It's a really good episode. There's a lot of competition on Wednesday nights. So we do get a lot of traction after the fact, and I do appreciate that. Bang on point. Let's see. The longest survivor will be Alex Ross doing stuff for film, sporadic publishing. Hullaballoo news. Oh, okay. I can see Jim Valentino retiring. Yeah. That makes a lot more sense. That's not very nice. You take that back. Yeah, so we cleared that up. So Jim Valentino is retiring, and somebody in the chat said he's 80 years old. So that is completely understandable. What? You're just making stuff up now. All right, I was talking about Jim Valentino. Sorry about that. Jim Lee has no personality. It would be great if Ethan Van Sciver was right and DC hired Todd McFarlane to take over. He can sell anything. Yeah, man, you got to get out in front of this stuff. You got to get out in front of it. Let me see. Yeah, I'm so far behind. I apologize. I think artists being editors is out. Let me see. Lake Kick says, I think artists being editors outside of their scope. Artists are creative, but a great writer steers the publishing, writing, and plotting because they are better suited. Yes, indeed. And I think Marvel used to have, was it Marvel or DC? Maybe it's DC. DC had a policy that editors could not be creative. I think Marvel had that for a while, but then I remember Bob Harris was writing, and then I think even Joe Quesada was doing stuff as editor. Hit the like button. Yes. Let's get this crazy. Let's get this party crazy. Yes, indeed, do. Yeah, you guys, if you're late, I'm going to show off some work in progress black and white pages for you. Also, we do have a original page available on the Indiegogo page. So if you like if you like original books, well, I can't read and talk. If you like original pages, then we got a doozy for you there. I think I got to show that off to you guys too. Yeah, I don't think he is. I don't think he's an idea guy. I think Jim's really good at taking ideas and polishing the shit out of them. You know what I mean? Like making them very commercialized, very successful. Jeff Plott says, I've seen more than my fair share of projects that were successful by literally dragging the corpse of the thing over the finish line. Yeah, well, at least, you know, like if you have a series and let's say it's a 12-issue series, and by issue 8 it starts showing weakness, I think you try to maybe course correct as much as you can, but you still put out the rest of the issues. You still follow through with it because it's a cheap shot to everybody that supported the book. What does the dog think? The dog thinks evil. Poochifer. I agree. If you keep putting out number ones, then who cares? Number one should be rare. Building a collection over years from 1 to 100 plus is part of the fun of collecting. Having 100 number ones is not the same. I think Todd McFarlane understood that, because when everybody was rebooting their books, Todd wanted a long run of Spawn, because also a long run shows longevity. So how do you judge an IP? Well, if you have 10 number ones or 10 number ones through threes, but you have, 200, 300 books, in a row. I don't even know what the new Spawn number is, but you have a couple hundred books. That looks more impressive because that looks like a book that has sustainability versus just a fad. So in the case of like Spawn and Todd McFarlane, he has both. He has great numbers and he has a good run. And you can always, and Todd did this, you can always do number ones. You can do spin-off books and things like that, but keep that core book. Keep that core book going. Sorry, man. I'm trying to catch up. All right. I think I've caught up. We got Richie Dupe in the chat. Hail Art, hail Comicsgate, hail and bananas to all. And to all a good night. Welcome. Okay, here we go. Actually, let me grab that one page first. Finished. What page number is that? I gotta find the page number. It's 20. I think it's page 20. Let me find this. Yeah, there it is. Boom. All right. We've got a treat for you guys. Let's do this. All right. So here is the black and white work in progress to tease you, to get you excited for the book. Yeah, these are work in progress, guys. So these are very, very tight layouts. But what I'm doing is I'm going back on some of the layouts and I'm tightening them up, because what I'm finding out that I make better decisions on a sketch piece of paper than the actual board. I get a little tight, and the ideas don't flow as well when I'm drawing on the actual board. So I'm working out a lot of stuff, as you can see here, with the little drawings. I mean, this is like a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that this is all drawn on. So you can kind of see the level, but it's all there. It just doesn't have, you know, like rendering and little details. So I wanted to show you guys this. And then you can see that second to last panel right here. That's what everything looked like before I started tightening it up. So this is a panel that I still need to tighten up to put in. So you can see White doesn't have her suit on yet. Like there's just little aspects of the suit, you know, in the layout. So sometimes they have their uniforms or the suits on. Sometimes they don't. As you can see, like Reed Blackett in panel 1 doesn't have his suit on there. So yeah, these are all just kind of little sketches, little marker drawings that I'm putting together. And there is some digital in here too. So when I draw, then I scan it in, and then I can kind of play with stuff digitally versus having to completely redraw stuff. So it's kind of the best of both digital and practical. So you can see the robots, I've kind of doubled them up. They're all, you know, digital. And then we have this, which is another page of layout. So like I said, I don't know if you guys are like me, but I really like to see work in progress, behind the scenes stuff. And this is some digital and some like hand drawn. So you can see like these perfectly straight lines. That's all digital. So I drew some of the backgrounds in digitally. And then the figure work is all, you know, hand drawn. And then you can see like the foreground figure here, the head, and then Whitney's back here. You can see there's like they're not compatible. So this one was drawn bigger and then just scanned in. So they weren't drawn in at the same time. I did have a JC face here, but I didn't like it. So I redrew it and then scanned it in and then put it into the page there. So the second to the last panel, all the background is digital. And then the figure work is all practical. So I'm going back and forth, and I really like it. I get better results, and it's faster. And then the last panel, you can see some of it's digital, some of it's hand drawn. But yeah, I'm really working a lot of stuff out. So I'm doing a lot of the pages this way moving forward. We're over halfway done with the book on this level, and so once I start, I'm going to go into like full pencil mode. So I'm going to scan these things, and then I'm going to light box them and then ink them up. So I'm going to stay in the same kind of mode. And I think I'll be able to get things done quicker than, you know, layouts, pencils, inks, you know, doing all of that in a row. So if I stay in layout mode, you know, pencil mode, and then, you know, ink mode, and so on and so forth, I'll get things done quicker, because the mindset, I'll be in the same mindset, and I won't have to shift gears as much. At least that's the hope at this point. So JC not happy with White. gun trained on her. She says something he likes right here. And then Reed in chains, not too happy with the way things are going. Whitney grabs her staff, jumps in front of JC, and then just blasts Reed. I love this last panel. I think it looks so freaking killer. There's a little open area, right? Like, let me, like right in here. That's where the sound effect's going to go. So that's why it's kind of sparse there. But there'll be some minimal floor detail, but the perspective grid's all drawn, so it won't be that hard to put in. There's like a little suggested stuff over here. I'll tighten that up when I put it down on the board itself. And then, you know, draw in her uniform, her suit. Reed is going to be, he's going to be chained up. So the chains are going to be shattering off his body here from the blast, and it's knocking him back. And so you get to see the robots gathering. They're kind of trying to keep Whitney contained and under control. So yeah, you guys, these are this is the layout phase. This is tight layouts, and this is going to give me the advantage moving forward. I really like this page. I really like all these layouts. This is the best work I've ever done, you guys. I'm really liking the pacing, the layouts. A lot of it is trial and error. Even when I was working with Joe Fulton when we were writing this thing, a lot of trial and error. You throw stuff out there, you let it stick for a little while, and then you come back on it, and then you kind of plus the idea. And this book has been nothing but plussing ideas. So we're starting off with good ideas, and we're making them, you know, great. So I hope you enjoy looking at this stuff. And then here is the page that's up on the site right now. So if you guys are into original artwork, this one is available now. So we get to see Reed in chains here. So that you can tell this is all kind of part of the same scene I just showed you. So some good stuff. Good stuff. There's JC, the face of evil. So yeah, I'm having the time of my life. Every day I get to draw is a pleasure. And I want to just thank you guys so much for giving me the opportunity to do this. Your backing, your support has allowed this book to happen. So I appreciate that. Once again, you guys, the link to Black and White is in the description. So check that out. If you haven't backed, please do so. And there's all kinds of cool stuff too. There's t-shirts. There's all kinds of things that you can add on. Oh shit. Oh my gosh. Hold on, man. We got to come back to the campaign. Oh, wow. This is big, guys. This is big. All right. Well, we're back, and we're better than ever. Yeah, look at that total. We were like, what were we? 112, like 6 or something like that. So now we're closing in on 13. So now we're 112,921. So I think we sold that piece of original artwork. I think that's what got us up here. So thanks to whoever backed the artwork. I do appreciate that. And now we are a stone's throw away from 113K. Wow, you guys, you just made my day. I can't wait to go downstairs and tell Pamela. She probably already knows, but let's check. Let's see. It has to be that piece of artwork. It's probably way down here. Yes. Sweet. Another killer black and white page has found a home. I am happy. I am so happy. So thank you guys. And like I said, the link is in the description. Maybe today, if we get a few backers, we can get that to 113. So if you guys already have the book but don't have a T-shirt, come by. The T-shirts look awesome. Shay did a great job. Red Valkyrie. We have the Inko T-shirt done by D Geek Art. Elizabeth kicked on that, so that's good ink on the T-shirt. So we're going to go into production on these things fairly soon. So we're trying to get the numbers up a little bit so we can place some orders. So we got 8 and 10. So we got 18. That's just here, but I know we have a lot more as add-ons. So you can get the T-shirts as add-ons as well, you guys. So yeah, wow. Woohoo! Yes. What's happening? Comicsgate is booming. What happened? I will be promoting it everywhere. So what happened? Oh, you guys are just messing with me. All right. Well, I am going to wrap this up. Oh, we got Stephen Rockwood showing up. Last but not least, yeah, you guys, the book's gonna rock. Wait, where's my Artie Bear plushie? Oh shit. I you know what? I'm gonna show this. One of you guys, let's see if I can find this profile. Where is this darn thing? Oh, here it is. I'm gonna show this Artie Bear plushie for the young ones, for the kids. So this is oh my gosh, I'll find out who drew this, but this is T Square, not T Bear. T Square, not T Bear. Should it be T Bear, not T Square? I don't know, but maybe that could be the Art T Bear with the tuxedo look. But yeah, one of you guys drew this up. I think it's pretty cool. Let me see who it was. Don Ticular. Don draws stuff. So I think there's a series of drawings. This is number 7 in the Comicsgate Kings tribute line. The man I used to refer to as Thibert. Yeah, so this is pretty cool, man. Very flattered. I dig it when you guys do stuff like this. That's awesome. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe we could do we'll do a plushie bear. Is there a T-Bear body pillow too? That would be like a grizzly. That'd be big. Shout out Inko. Oh man, Pamela came up with something for Inko the other day. Yeah, we got plans. We're still brainstorming on stuff. So you haven't seen the last of some of this. Neon Knight. Real quick, in your long inking career, who did you not get to ink that you would have wanted to? I came close to a Silver Surfer job that John Buscema was drawing. I think it was was it a Valiant Marvel crossover or something like that I was going to work on, and that didn't happen. And then the one I really would like to is John Byrne. I think John Byrne would have been a blast. Yeah, and then old school, going old school, I would have liked to ink Gil Kane. I think Gil Kane would have been a blast. Actually, that would have probably been just the most fun for me. Because to be honest, I wouldn't. I've thought about this. I wouldn't stick to, because the thing is, Gil Kane's very structured, and I would transition the artwork outside of the structure stuff. So a lot of people were inking him, and even when he would ink himself, it'd be too structured. And I think I would not ignore stuff, but I would definitely I would destructure it a little bit, make it look more organic. Shout out to Inko. Yes. Oh shit. this was our breakfast conversation. Pamela is talking. She got some contact info, and we're gonna get. We're trying to get. Chrono in front of Daily Wire right now. So that's what we're doing. We do have a contact, and we're going to give them my agent info and everything. The thing is, when you're trying to open these doors, they're really tough, especially without any. I don't know anybody over there and things like that. So we're working on trying to establish. And what I'm hoping is, I know that like Shapiro and some of those guys are comic book. They're familiar at least a little bit with comic books. So I'm hoping that this is weird, but I'm hoping that my name and my my resume will open the door, so they'll know that maybe they'll be familiar with the name, because Chrono is still kind of an obscure title. So I don't think they'll know it by Chrono, but that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to give them my contact. I'm going to give them my agent contact. And then if they follow through with it, then I can start showing them stuff. I have a Chrono TV pitch. I already have one that I could send to them. I'll have to review it to make sure it's still what I want it to say, but I do have stuff that I could give them. So yeah, you never know. I mean, these things are always pipe dreams, so I don't ever put too much hope out. But if any of you guys have contacts, let me know, because there is kind of some crossover with Daily Wire, like what they're doing and what Comicsgate is doing. And I think they understand what we're doing versus a lot of mainstream people. I think they understand that we're not ists and phobes. I have an idea for this too. Yeah, there's stuff. Pamela and I have been brainstorming. We've been having very productive lunches. Let's just say that. Lunches and breakfast. I inked Johnny Romita Jr., but I was helping out a friend. So there's some pages that I inked, but I didn't get credit for. And it was a blast. And I have to say, I inked him better than the guy that got the job. But I'm not going to name names. Yeah, Eric July would be a good place start. Oh, to contact? Oh, that's right. Yeah, you know what? I could do that. That is a good start. Thank you, Joseph. That's not bad. Yeah, sweet. I knew you guys would come through. Comicsgate is good people. All right. Pass the Daily Wire info around. Yeah, and there is some crossover, because I know like even Gina Carano follows a lot of us and things like that. Audrey says Daily Wire would be awesome fit for Comicsgate and vice versa. Yeah, I years and years ago, I forget the company. They were it was the guy's name, and they were in Canada, and they do a lot of work with Film Roman and a lot of the big name animation studios. And we were going to partner, and the partnership was going to be me in the studio, because this is when Hack Shack Studios was in full bore, putting out multiple books a month and everything. We had a lot of talent to pull from. And we were going to do comic books for them, and then they were going to do animation pitches for us. So there was going to be like this synergy between the two. And then I got my agent involved, and my agent started talking to them, and they were unwilling to put trailers together. So what he was trying to do, my agent, he was trying to get them to commit to actually doing something, like putting things down versus just saying they were going to do it, to actually do like a Chrono Mechanics animation trailer or something like that. And they really wouldn't agree to it, but they wanted me to do full comics. So, and they were kind of on spec. So the idea was like, I would do a comic book, well, not on spec, but I guess in a way, free. I would do the comic book free, and then the hopes were that they had the animation connections, and if they put an animation like trailer together, then we could get that in front of animation execs, and with their their connections, we could easily take these meetings, and they never did, so that didn't happen. But if the Daily Wire was open to it, we could easily do that, and there's already IPs that they could use for these things. Because if you guys haven't heard, Daily Wire is doing feature type films. They already have the Gina Carano Western, and they have like $100 million or something like that worth of investments for a animation line. So they want to get into children's programming. And I think that Chrono Mechanics would be perfect. And I have a handful of others that I pitched to various people that I could plug in as well. So, and they would be more kid-like stuff. Even black and white, since we have the high octane animated adventure, we could send that along and see if they like that as well. So yeah, I think there definitely could be synergy between the two. And then there could be things that are created between the two, like we're going to be done with that animation house that I was talking about in Canada. So there could be things that are created just for the merger. So there could be a comic book made and an animation developed in unison, kind of like the way they do in Japan, where they do the comic book and the cartoon at the same time. Oh man, we got the talented Rob Hunter. What's up, brother? My inking brother from another mother. Tara Wombat says also that Star Wars Girl and Drunk 3PO are friends with Gina Carano. Yeah, I think Eric July would be a good connection. So I'm going to reach out to Eric, Gabe, and Dean Kane. Wow, you guys have all this stuff. Yes, like. And if you're not subscribed, please do so. Let me go. That's funny. Let me read. Audrey's got this stuff down. With Daily Wire is getting into the entertainment end of things to combat the liberal side of it. A great opportunity there for folks, for sure. Yeah, I think in lieu of the left not really wanting to play with anybody associated with the right, I'm talking about politics, I'm talking about Hollywood, just across the board. There's really only one thing that you can do, and that's create your own entertainment, period. And always the thing in question is financing. That's why, like Indiegogo, you guys back in these comic books, things like that. That's the only way they can exist, because without money, none of us can do these books. And so it's the same way with any of these projects, like Daily Wire. They have subscriptions, things like that. So there's ways that you can support them so that they can continue to build stuff, because we don't have, like, I don't know, 100 years in Hollywood. We don't have, that kind of financial revenue that, like, the Hollywood and different people like that have. So we have to kind of create our own revenue streams. And without the revenue stream, we can't do any of this stuff. I've been trying to do create our own things like this since I got into comics. And most recently, probably the last 15 years, I've really been trying to get stuff going. And until Comicsgate, nothing's been viable. Image wasn't viable. The indie publishers weren't viable. What I mean by viable is financially, they weren't viable. You could do them as like like losses, like you could work on these books. And I did, in my spare time. Chrono Mechanics was all labor of love. I mean, it was all spare time. And then when I got fired from Marvel, my wife and we actually financed it ourselves. So for almost 2 years, we lived off of our savings and our investments. There was no new money coming in. So we put a lot on the line for Chrono just for it to exist, and then I went back to DC Comics after that. So, for steady income. But yeah, it became more and more apparent without money coming in, you can't do these things. You just can't. So let's see what Pedro says. Daily Wire already started doing Saturday morning style cartoons. Check out Chip Chilla. Yeah, and they're hiring people away from Disney, which is good, because the people that are coming from Disney, I know Disney's got a lot of good people, and they're being silenced, and they're not being allowed to do what they want. And they just want to do good children's programming. They don't want to do stuff with agenda. They have no axe to grind. They have no political bullshit to interject into these things. They just want to do good kids entertainment. And some of them have left. It left years ago. I know the Bancroft brothers left. I'm not going to get too much into their story because that's for them to tell. And I don't know how much of it they made public, but a lot of the reason they left Disney is because Disney wasn't Disney anymore, and so I don't know if they're ever going to fully tell their story. They're usually very, very, they don't really get into controversy too much, but look at that. Can you hear the breathing? It's raining right now, so he can't be outside. So he's here he comes. The zoomies. Pamela calls it the zoomies. But yeah, things are happening, you guys. This is a very interesting times. These are really, really interesting times. And I mean, I wish this would have happened even 10 years ago when I was younger and I had more energy. But it's happening now, and I'm going to fully embrace all of this stuff. So, wow. Shit. Oh my gosh, you guys aren't going to let me leave. We're going off on another great tangent. Hanging and listening to the wisdom of the T-Bear. Oh, the big T-Bear. Thank you. All right, Pedro. One of these days, Pedro, we gotta just talk about this stuff, because Pedro's got a lot of insight, because Pedro's an animator by trade. And he's worked for all these companies. The advantage is the Hollywood, that Hollywood thinks it's impossible to produce without them. That's their blind spot. Well, just like music and everything else, I mean, there's major paradigm shifts happening with every aspect of entertainment, every aspect. And I think anybody would be a fool to think otherwise. The good part about where I'm at right now is I've acknowledged that those guys are cavemen, that Marvel, DC, Warner Brothers, Disney, these guys they're not idea guys. They're not really going to make things work forward. I remember Prince, of all people, the musician Prince. He said innovation is not going to come from the music industry. It's going to come from individuals that are going to do things and strike out on their own, because these corporate structures don't have. And we've been talking about the theme of today's show is that they just don't have the initiative. There's no reason to, because if they come up with new ideas and it doesn't fly and it's a financial flop, they're going to get fired. So why do it at all? There's no incentive to actually try anything. But with people like us, as long as we also have people like you supporting stuff, then we can do these things and we can do them together. It's the only way, because I can't do this alone. Guy from Red Bank. As a guy from Red Bank, it isn't a fan of Ben Shapiro. I can't wait. Who isn't? Wait. As a guy from Red Bank that isn't a fan of Ben Shapiro, I can't wait for Daily Wire. So you're not a fan of Ben Shapiro, but you do like what Daily Wire is doing? I think that's fair. Oh, their movies. I can't wait for their movies. I gotcha. Let's see what Pedro says. That, not the, I typed. I think we got the gist. We get the gist. We're not the casino pass line stock market. I'm not sure what that means. Casino pass line. Like gambling? Is that a gambling? I'm waiting for Ben Shapiro nuts to you know how you can slow down video? I don't know how to do it. I know you can do it. But that would be the best way to listen to Ben, because man, that guy talks fast. He's a bit of a fast talker. But I like, he said something that actually really connected with me, where he was saying that he was interviewed and he was asked about like connecting red and blue states and having, this kind of, I guess what people used to think the world was, the United States was, where it was like, all these states were connected and we all kind of see eye to eye and all this stuff, and that there was some kind of unity between the states. And I think Ben said he's not sure that there ever really was, other than that there was kind of always like an understanding or an illusion of. And he said, because there is a side of me, at least up to that point, that was thinking we all have to get along, we all have to work things out, we need to get back to like this kind of unity. But when he was saying he's not sure that ever was there, and then he said that the reason all these states have their own governance, they have their own laws and rules and stuff like that, is because they were meant to be different than the federal. They were meant to be different than the big on high ideas. So if there is a place that you're living that isn't down with your beliefs, they don't like you because of who you are or because of who you believe in or who you voted for, then there are states that do, and you can move to those states. And then I think what you're also seeing happening is you're seeing prosperity in some, and in others you're seeing turn into shitholes. So I think eventually, just like with CG and with Daily Wire, the proof is going to be in the product. The proof is going to be in the success. The proof is going to be in happiness. That people are enjoying life. They're enjoying the entertainment. And that's going to be the big deciding factor. It's not going to be battling it out politically. I don't think that that's going to happen. I think examples is going to change things. I think if the mainstream comic book industry is going to change, they're going to start looking at things that we're doing, and they're going to have to stop doing the same old. Same with Hollywood and so on and so forth. So after Ben Shapiro started talking like that, I started thinking like the differences aren't necessarily a bad thing. The differences are a good thing, as long as you're not being canceled or crucified because of it. But the more people that stand up on the right, then we can push back the narrative, because most of the cancel. Well, all the cancel culture stuff and all that really, really bad stuff right now is coming from the left. You don't see the right canceling people And you're seeing more people on the right just saying, all right, you guys do your thing. We're going to do our thing and just leave us the F alone, right? Just leave us alone and let us do this and find our audience and build something that we believe in, just the same way you did. The problem is like politically and with entertainment, they don't want that. They don't want you to challenge them. And too bad, it's going to happen. We're going to challenge you. The interesting thing is a lot of us have insight on what the mainstream was, what it could be, or what it used to be when it was great. So those things could be that, but we also have those examples to bring into what we're doing now. So man, I'm getting really pumped up. I mean, there's some great stuff that's going to come down the line, you guys. I do believe Comicsgate and what the Daily Wire is doing is just the beginning. Past Master says Comicsgate is the new mainstream and big things are ahead. I do in my heart of heart believe that. Yeah, it's the structure, man. It's the infrastructure, Siege. Hopefully they'll all leave and come the new structures that are being built. Yeah, it's kind of just to add to that. It's the infrastructure, it's the financial part. Pedro says Hollywood will die thinking they are on top. Outsiders should concentrate on producing and offering. They will talk with from their deathbeds. Wow. That's some tough talk, man. Okay. I am going to have to start wrapping this up, man. I'm getting hungry. Speed Dog. Yeah, Pamela calls it the zoomies. He gets the zoomies. He gets these energy bursts, these little puppy energy bursts, and just goes crazy. Wow, Audrey, you brought some good stuff to the table, man. I appreciate it. Disney just lost a showrunner to the Daily. I think they lost two pretty heavy duty players from Disney, and they're gonna lose more because I know people. I know people on the park side. I know people on the animation side, and if there's a viable solution or there's a viable, mostly financial, it's like I said, I hate harping on it, but it's mostly financial. If it financially makes sense, you're going to see a lot more of this. Because there's a lot of people that think this way, but that still need to feed their families. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very, very kind of you. Well, I got some stuff to do now. I got to contact some new people. Eric July. Sorry, you guys. I'm not the fastest of reader. Oh, that's cool. I think we're on the cusp of something great ahead of us. We need to support that, as you say, Art. It's the only way it's going to exist. We could all work in a vacuum, but it takes a long time. I've done it, man. Like I said, almost 15 years, working on stuff, working on black and white at night after, 10 hours working for Marvel and DC. I've done all that, and it takes forever to get anything done. Oh man, we've unlocked a whole can of chat whoop ass here. I'm going to answer this and then take off. If you guys still have artwork, send it. I'm going to write in the chat. This is where you can send it to. You can send stuff here via transfer. And wait, is this okay? Art Hashtag Studios at yahoo.com. Double check this, make sure it's all right. Studios with an S. Yes. Yeah, you guys, if there's anybody listening that has artwork done or wants to send artwork in the future for the art contest, if you want to know the details, just click on the black and white link, go there in the stretch goals, and you can read up. I think there might have been also an update. There might be an update on the page too that you can check out. But send the card art to that art @hashtagstudios@yahoo.com. Send it there and use WeTransfer. Don't use any other way, because it's easier for me to download. And I do have a file. I have a lot of artwork already. So, but I want to, since there's no real like deadline rush on it right now. Although Pamela, if she did have the winners, we could make the cards. But other than that, there's no real rush on it. You're very much welcome. Kevin, you are very, very much welcome, my friend. As always, speaking of just people that support financially these campaigns and these books, Kevin is the man, the myth. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for hanging out. It's been a joy. I know you guys are always going to come through. I'm always nervous when I start these things. I don't really have a topic or anything to talk about. And then the best part is you guys just come up with something, in the stream, and then we just go off on these great tangents, and I enjoy the hell out of it. So I do appreciate it. I think Audrey was the star, bringing the Daily Wire stuff, and gave me an excuse to talk about where we're at with that. So yeah, you guys have a fantastic day. Well, it's Friday, so have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you Monday on the King Show. Oh, well, okay. Monday's the King Show, and it's usually, I think, around 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And then we have the Professionals, which is Tuesday, and it's the same time. I think it's is it? I think it's 7 Eastern Time. Yeah. And then I have the Pontificators, which is 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And those are the big 3 shows that I do every week. And if you guys haven't seen them, check them out. There's a few of them. I think there's a new Professionals a little bit back, and then there's the Pontificators from the other night, which was a lot of fun. We showed off some of the Mark Silvestri art. And if you guys haven't, please like, subscribe. Tweet this stuff out, tweet these campaigns, these CG campaigns out. It's all guerrilla marketing. We all appreciate it. And you guys have a fantastic weekend. Take care.